So now we're seeing a strong 5-point rally in the first minute of the market being open. We can see an area of low volume here around 4527, 4526. If the market hits this 4531 level and we pull back and hold 4527, 4526, and it is defended, I'll be looking to long that pullback, speculating that 4531 will break out. Yeah, this breakout is being done on strong volume. We can see all the strong buying volume over here. We can also see it on the footprint. You can see as we break out above 4531, the buying volume is strong. There's also an area of lower volume down here indicating that there are larger participants making the market move up with ease, leaving a lower volume area as we start pushing up higher. So again, I'm still looking along these pullbacks, but the reality of it is that this rally is very strong. The volume is supporting this. We have other equities such as Tesla also bouncing off of this demand zone. So this is really starting to perk up to me and really look bullish, but I just cannot chase it on a 10-point rally at the open without at least a minor pullback or at least any type of consolidation. All right, now coming up to these highs here, 4536, we could see some selling activity stepping in here. See, as we rally up, we put in a double top on a microstructure of the tape. Now we could see heavy selling volume trying to step in, and this is the pullback that I'm talking about. We could get a nice little dip down. My new pullback level is 4531 to 4526. If we can pull back into 4531, 4526, I'm interested in taking this thing long. As you can tell, some selling activity stepping in, high volume, offer stepping up. I don't put much emphasis on passive orders. However, when they come step in, after selling volume steps in, this may be a nice seller stepping in here. So the gauge here is to gauge if buyers can buy if the market pulls back. If it pulls back and buyers can buy and defend price, that's an indication in the market's auction that buyers are holding this and their agenda or their theme here may be to go break out for higher prices because they're willing to buy lower. All right, it looks like we're not going to pull back down. This thing is going to attack those sellers there that we just saw at 4536, meaning these sellers could be really underwater and be in a lot of pain if the market wants to bring aggression to them. I'm looking to buy this breakout. I like this consolidation. I like this flag. I'm long here, 4536 and a quarter. I'm liking this buying. I'm liking this selling activity that we're seeing right here at 4536. Immediately get bought up and reclaimed. I like this consolidation structure. There's also minimal supply and minimal resistance other than this swing high here at 4540. So other than this 4540 high here, there's nothing stopping the market to rally into 4549, 4555. So that's my target, 4549, 4555. My stop loss for this trade is going to be under 4531. So I'm risking about 5 to make 13 to 18. So the one thing I'm not a fan of is I don't like buying a breakout above a high a day, but I liked the consolidation, so the risk was there. The issue is I'm not a fan of when the market breaks a high and we fail to stay above the high. That's a sign that the market is not really accepting the activity above. If we fail to build activity above a high after a break, it's indicating the market may want to pull back and attract prices much lower. And now we may get that deeper pullback that I'm talking about. But I felt like I was way too conservative by waiting a pullback, that we weren't just pulling back at all. Hence why that entry. But this is still remaining good. I got to remain firm about this. I got to remember that the market cannot just move straight up in my favor. We're going to have a pullback. We're going to see consolidation. So as long as my risk is managed, I got to maintain in this position. But one thing I do want to say is that I'm not a huge fan of a breakout above a high, which does fail. So I would like to see more buying come in, find some acceptance above this previous high at 4537. I would really, really like to see that here. Tesla is bouncing off of that demand zone down here. Tesla is holding a previous gap as support. So this in itself is also bullish. Now we're getting that strong buying volume reaction. We're testing that 4540 high. Again, there's really not much resistance above this. I just need to gauge that this is not going to be a fake out, meaning, okay, we have a wick here, we have a high here. If the market breaks this and fakes out, this could be a good area to pick up liquidity. So that's the one thing now that I'm gauging is I don't want to see a fake out above this level, because now we're seeing the buying volume come in and a lot of retail will probably be saying, okay, now this thing is looking really, really good. Let me try to chase it up here. And the ones that enter the party late are not going to be the ones that are happy. And as we can see here, we could see the consolidation. We could see the buying volume step in. And really the main thesis for this entry was that selling volume that came in that really did not move the market much lower. When I see the selling volume at the high and a fail to bring the market a much lower, and then automatically come back up to that within a few minutes, it's a sign that that seller may be actually a buyer, or that seller may be put in pain to further fuel a rally up higher. So this still is looking really, really good. I feel very confident in this. I'm really just targeting 4549, 4555. But let's see what happens here. So as I just said, the market's testing this upper balance actual high. And you are not going to see a strong breakout always above this level. This is a good area to pick up liquidity. So a pullback here is likely and it is possible. Can't freak out on a pullback, because what if a pullback is just a temporary problem for a long-term solution of the market rallying? So you got to stick to it and follow your plan. Like, a pullback here definitely is likely and is possible, and you just simply cannot freak out. I'm not freaking out. I'm going to maintain my plan. So now what I'm going to do is since the market's up about 6 or 7 points in my favor, and we are in pullback possible territory, I am not going to let a pullback which goes deeper than 4533 turn red on me. Meaning my original stop was about 2-3 points under that. Now I'm going to boost my stop loss up, which again, I'm not a huge fan of doing unless I take profits. However, I'm not going to hold the long position that moves under this low in this pullback territory. So now I minimize my risk even further. That's going to make me maintain in this trade if we do pull back. So I would like to see a pullback hold and not stop me out above 4533. Still targeting 4549, 4555. It's still my target, but I'm not going to let a pullback that's in my favor about 6 or 7 points go 5 points negative on me. I'm going to minimize my risk here, because if we pull back under this, I would say the chances of it rallying in this type of scenario with this type of context will be much lower. So now I just adjust accordingly and I continue to let the market do its thing. All right, so now we're getting a little bit of a deeper pullback. We can see the market is testing that 4540 high. We broke out above it, and now the selling pressure is starting to come in. I will not hold this trade under 4533. If I stop out under 4533, and let's say it bounces at the 31s, well, I'll simply look to long and get a re-entry, but I'm not going to hold this thing past this low. I will not hold this thing past this low. 4533 is my new stop. Yeah, the issue is if I were to stop out here just because I'm red on the trade, or now I'm up slightly, if I were to stop out right here just because we saw a pullback, I always think about it as like, if I'm selling, does that invalidate my thesis? Like, if I were to get out right now out of this moment, is this price point invalidating my original long thesis? And at this moment, it is not. So I have every reason to still continue to be in this trade, because yes, we pulled back. Yes, we failed to break above this level, but this pullback still has not proven my original long analysis or my original long thesis incorrect yet. So solely off of that reason, I have every reason to maintain in this long side position, even though it is not now working in my favor. And also, if this thing does hold on this pullback and this thing does get bought up and reclaim back above this previous weekly high at 4539, 4540, that's a very, very bullish sign. Very, very, very bullish sign. Yeah, I mean, this is looking really good now. So this is why you always have to follow your plan, and you cannot freak out if the market pulls back against you. This pullback got bought up. My stop loss never triggered. The pullback is now rallying and moving back above this weekly high. This is looking super, super bullish now. All right, now we're reclaiming back above it. We're testing it. Let's see if this thing has continuation, because like I said, if we come and break a high and pull back, the pullback holds and come back to retest that high, it's a very, very bullish indication. That means the market has not finished the auction here at these highs, and maybe we want to go advertise prices higher to see if buyers are willing to buy higher. So I'm feeling like a breakout is imminent here due to this current intraday context, due to everything that I'm seeing on the tape. Here's this pullback that got bought up. You can see the selling stepping in at the high. We can see the pullback that held. My stop never triggered, and we're reclaiming or going to test 4550, 4540. I'm not going to say that we reclaimed it yet, because we have not. We're just testing it, but let's see if we can reclaim above this. If I were to exit here, does my long side trade, is my analysis invalidated? It's simply not. I cannot exit until my thesis and my analysis gets invalidated. And this thing is still holding. This thing is still looking good. I would really prefer to see a 4540 now reclaim back above. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize my risk even further, and my stop, which was below 4533, I'm now just simply going to boost this up to about 4534 and a half, just to minimize it even further, because now we had that bounce at this level, and I wouldn't want to see the market go under that level if this 4540 level does fail. All right, so now here's going to be a higher day test. I want you all to keep an eye on, and what I'm watching is watch the depth of market as we break above 4543, which is the high of day. We're about a point away from that right now. But watch what happens when or if the market breaks above 4543, and watch the volume develop as we break this high. Watch the bid volume, watch the ask volume, watch the delta build, and look for passive orders. Right now we can see a larger passive order at 4545, and now I'm just gauging the action above the previous high. Highs and lows are very important. As we break out, you want to see buying volume continuously increase, and the market corresponds to that by moving up. You don't want to see buying volume and the market failing to move up, because that would be a sign of weakness. And that's the biggest thing that I'm gauging, like how much fuel is there left in the gas tank to fuel the fire. And right now I'm seeing signs that there's some fuel left, that the market could easily rally up and hit my 4549, 4555 target here. So let's see what happens. Now I would not want to see the market break under these 4539s, 4540s. A pullback should hold, and a pullback under that will definitely make me worry slightly, because now I'm not going to let an 8-point winner turn red on me. So this trade is now risk-free. I'm not going to hold this thing and make it turn red. It is now a risk-free trade, because one of my rules is if the market's up X amount of points, I am not going to let that X amount of points go red on me, especially with this new development and this new information. So now this trade is risk-free. Simply targeting about another 5 to 10 more points into our supply zone target. I would not want to see the market break under 4540, 4539, and then hold under there. And also I want to see the buying volume increase as the market keeps moving higher, which is what I'm gauging right now at this moment. Another strong push into the 46s, strong push into the 47s. You can tell there's not a lot of trades on the bid, which means the aggressiveness to the buy side is strong on the depth of market here. Let's get another quick strong push up to my 49 target here. Going for those 49s. I am going for those 49s. And again, as long as selling does not step in, there's no resistance until that. As long as selling does not step in on the tape intraday, which we're keeping an eye on, there's not much resistance until the 49s and then 55s. Yeah, I'm being super cautious, guys. I'm being super cautious up here. I don't want to pull back that, destroys a bunch of my profits by maybe getting greedy for 2 points, but I have to remain with my plan at this moment. I just don't want to see a pullback to completely destroy all these profits that I have right now. But I could be saying that, and then now let's just say we bounce, and I'd be saying that, oh, I sold early, and I just missed out on profits because I sold early. So it's like a double-edged sword, but there's a happy medium ground between both of them. I'm just being super, super cautious right now. All right, so now the question that I'm asking myself is, and this is like the double-edged sword that I was talking about, that if I sell here before my target, because this is not looking super, super strong in the short term, and I would not be surprised for a pullback. But the double-edged sword that I'm talking about is if I get out early here, 2 points away, 3 points away from my target, and then the market goes to my target, I'm going to be upset that I didn't follow my plan. The opposite side to that is if I exit here for a 10, 11 point profit and I lock in my gains, and then the market does pull back, I'm going to be happy that I did that. So it's a double-edged sword, and there's really no way to do it. But I always maintain of saying that you can never go wrong following your predetermined plan unless a super bad red flag comes into the market. And I really wouldn't call this a super bad red flag. I would just call this a possible red flag that the chances of the market pulling back could be higher now than what they were earlier. So that's all I'm saying at this moment. But let's see what happens. I really can't just exit this trade because we're 2 points away from my target. And I know people probably saying like, hey, you should lock in some gains to protect yourself here. But what if I were to lock in gains and this was just the start of a move? And by me locking in, let's just say half or 75% of it, I'm losing out on all the profits I could get if this thing does rally. So I don't really see a reason why I should exit or protect myself here, because even if we do pull back, my analysis is still not incorrect, right? So like I said earlier, like every time I click the sell button, I'm clicking that sell button because my thesis and my analysis was proven to be incorrect and I am wrong on it. If I were to sell here, my analysis and my thesis really still has been proven incorrect. Like if we pull back, that pullback should hold, and I can't get freaked out on a pullback. Like it's still uptrending, it's still putting in higher highs, still putting in higher lows, still above major levels like that previous weekly high at 4540. So I think if we were to get it below that, then yeah, I would start not freaking out, but I would start thinking about selling. But at these prices, even a pullback, which still is above 4540, I can't freak out yet either. Yeah, it'll suck giving back some gains if we do pull back. Like currently I'm up about 5,000. And if we pull back into these 40s, probably be up only about like 2,000 or 3,000. And that would suck. But what if the market rallies up? You got to think about it from the other side. So now we just tested this guy at 47.5. So we just broke above the high. Let's see if this works out and we continue to move up. Would not want to see it to fail here. If it fails here, I'm going to get out of this position 1 or 2 points away from my target. If this move above the high fails here, I will exit this trade prematurely 1 or 2 points away from my target. But let's see if we can get a strong push up here now. I'm watching the tape. Watch the ask side volume. Watch as it increases as the market moves up. That's something you want to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on this ask side, the blue volume here on the right side of this profile split. And also the delta. Watch it build as the market moves up. Some strong buying coming in now. Some strong buying coming in. Not liking that high a day breakout. I am not liking that high a day breakout here. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this high breakout here. I'm being really careful. I got my finger on the hotkey, ready to sell if this thing starts moving down. I don't like this tail in the profile. I do not like that tail in the profile. All right, I'm all out of this thing at these 46s. I'm all out of this thing at these 46s. I'm not holding this trade. 1 point away from my target. Did not like what I saw here at these highs. I may just be so defensive here and I may regret this later on. And, you know, me holding this pullback still is valid. And I still am very bullish and I still think I should be holding this pullback. But I want to play a little bit of a defense here just because of how slow the market is moving, on how weird the volume is. And now this thing is probably going to hit my target here. And I'm going to sit here with deep regret and see this thing rally another 10, 20 points up. But I got to play defense here and I got to get out when I'm up 10, 11 points. I just cannot sit in this thing. I know this thing is going to hit my target. I know we're going to keep rallying up higher, but I can't sit here any longer in this trade with the volume that I'm seeing and with the entry that I was seeing. You know, if I had an entry down here at the 31s like my original plan was, I would be much more comfortable holding this pullback. But I don't want to let a $6,000 profit now go into a $2,000 profit, you know? So I got to play defense here, and it's probably going to bite me in the ass because this thing looks like it's going to keep going up. But that's the name of the game. I'd rather play defense over offense. You know, I'm probably going to look back at this later on and see I could have just made an extra, you know, 10,000. And I do want to say I was super patient all morning so far. I was super patient on my entry. I was super patient on that pullback that was very close to stopping me out. I was very patient on that rally up. I was very patient on this past hour of consolidation. And I feel like my mistake with this was I got scared. I did not want to give back any profits. I let my emotions exit this trade for me. And again, I'm probably going to regret this when I see this thing rally another 10, 20, 30 possible points up. But it sucks being patient all day and then not be patient on my exit. And, you know, could possibly, as I'm saying this right now, make more profits if I just followed another 1 to 5 point rally into my next target. And now as I'm wrapping up this session, the market obviously had a strong rally. And as I mentioned before, I'm sitting in here with deep regret that I did not hold. My mistake here was I simply got out way too early because I thought the market was going to sell off, or I was playing more defense than offense because I was anticipating something to happen that never actually occurred. I was more concerned about a future event, and I wasn't so concerned about the present moment. The future event that I was concerned about was I wasn't wanting to give up profits. The present moment event that I was not looking at was simply that the market was still holding its structure. We were still uptrending. Pullback still should have gotten bought up. And now I'm out of this trade and I missed out on another about 15 point rally up